Hey everybody, today's video is all about this box set right in front of me. This is the Beatles US Albums. And it's not a review or anything like that. It's more of a cautionary tale. So this box looks pretty legitimate, maybe on camera, but this is actually a counterfeit. And I'm going to tell you the story of how I ended up getting this box set. So about 4 or 5 months ago, I was looking online at just various Beatle things, as I always do. And I came across this. Now, I will say I was not on eBay. I was on a different site. I'm not going to say the site, but it's a site kind of like eBay a little bit. And this box came up, and the price was too good to be true. I will say that right off the bat. The price was way too good to be true. And I think it was like I think they had it for like $50 on there. Now, these go brand new online if you were to look them up. They're roughly around like $150 to $200 is what I've usually seen, which is why I have not picked this box up when it came out or since then, because I just didn't need it for my collection. It's not something that interests me really, because all the recordings within this box are all available elsewhere that I already had. Most of these are made up of the 2009 stereo remasters, or they can be found on these two Capital box sets that I already had, volumes 1 and volumes 2. I will tell you about this extra box in a little bit. So the audio side of it, it was all stuff I didn't need, but as a Beatle collector, it was always something I had my eye on, and I was hoping that the price would go down eventually. And while it has gone down a little bit, it hasn't gone down enough for me to actually want to just buy a brand new one. So I was always on the lookout for a used box set of this. So when this came up for $50, I thought, well, I'm going to keep an eye on it, see what happens. It's probably a counterfeit, though. That went off in my head as there's probably something wrong with it, or it's just a full-on counterfeit. So what I did was I messaged the seller, and I asked them right off the bat, is it a legitimate box set from what they can see? And they said, to their eyes, it's legitimate. And by the way, it was sealed. I should also mention that. It was totally sealed, and it had all the correct, like hype stickers and all that kind of stuff that are on the actual boxes. So I asked the seller if they thought it was legitimate. They told me that, to their knowledge, it was. And then I asked them if I could ask them, well, why are you selling it for such a low price? And then they claimed that they ended up buying some stores overstock, and they ended up with all these different boxes. So it already sounded kind of fishy to me. So then I threw out on the site you can throw out an offer. So I threw out a very, very low ball offer. I threw out a $30 offer, which is very, very low. But the seller accepted it, which was a little bit surprising, and also made more alarm bells go off in my head. Like, okay, well, this is probably going to be a counterfeit. So paid for it, and then he shipped it out, and he shipped it out very, 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 very quickly. I think I got it within like 4 days or something like that. Got it home, opened it up. So obviously a counterfeit. Like, couldn't be more counterfeit. I will show you exactly why it's a counterfeit in a second. But just to finish up the story, open it up. Definitely a counterfeit. I took a bunch of photos. I sent it to this person and the seller, and said, hey, this is definitely not the legitimate box. And the seller I got to give him credit, and by the way, maybe he's dealt with this before and he just didn't want to deal with the hassle. He said, no problem, I'm going to refund you your money. Just keep the box. It's yours. Don't worry about it. You don't have to send it back, and we'll just call it a day. So that's what happened. That's how I ended up with this box. I definitely don't go after counterfeit Beatles stuff because it doesn't interest me at all. In this case, this one is pretty interesting, as I will show you. So I do have a friend that owns the legitimate box set of this, so I was able to, I don't have it right now, of course, but I was able to compare this with a legitimate box. And while there are a lot of similarities, it's pretty obvious that this is a counterfeit. So right off the bat, the box itself, as you can see, it looks okay, except it has a different kind of texture to the box. It is a solid box, but it's got like a different, almost like a gray film over it or something like that. So that right there is a sign. Also, this like bluish purple, whatever color this is, like a navy blue, I guess is what you would call it. It's very, very dark, a lot darker compared to the actual box set. That's another thing to look for. Then when you open up the box, now once you open up the box, you can 100% obvious that this is counterfeit. But like I said, this was sealed originally, so it was a little bit harder to tell if it was counterfeit or not. So look for the color of the box and for this like kind of gray like film over the top. That'll really, really help you there. But once you open it, if you're able to open it, it becomes ridiculously apparent that this is not legitimate. First off, when you open the box, the CDs, there's a lot of space within the box. So the legitimate box, all the CDs fit in there perfectly, snugly in there, look really good. The other thing that's a big problem with this is that all the CDs within the box are different sizes, the actual CD covers here. I don't know if that'll show up on camera or not, but if you look at it, they are all different sizes, as you can maybe see right there. And on top of that, they are all printed on pretty much just like card stock from a printer. So if you look closely, it's not a good printing job. It's pretty good, considering it's a home printer, it's pretty good. The other thing is all of the sleeves are glued very, very poorly. So there's like a big thing right there. Let me find one that's done really, really badly, because there are some that are extremely bad. I don't remember. Oh yeah, like on the Beatles Story. I guess maybe you can't see it on camera, but it's glued very, very poorly. And it's just clearly, these are clearly counterfeit. And then the biggest giveaway of all, if you want to have even more of a giveaway, is the booklet you get, that I got rather. It's printed, some of the ink is like coming off on the back here, and then once you open it up, it's very, very poor, the ink quality, and the booklet doesn't open up all the way. It was like glued. That's as far as it'll open up. It's glued like too far into the pages here. So just 100% a counterfeit. The good news about this counterfeit, I will say, is that all the discs are included, all the proper that were supposed to be inside the box, they're all here, and all the audio is actually the exact same as the audio you would get in the legitimate box set. So clearly, they created this box set from a legitimate box set, and they did do a pretty good job as far as you get all the contents. And also, I should mention that this is another thing that's worth mentioning. They included all the original inner sleeves as well, and they all matched up. They're all exactly right, these inner sleeves that come with the legitimate box set. So they really did try to go out of their way to make it seem legitimate. But like I was saying, back to the audio. So the audio is identical. So they clearly just burned the audio from the actual legitimate releases and just put them on these CDs. And they all play fine. I played some of them on my home CD player here, played it in my car, and they play fine. So you get the audio, or the audio is all accurate and stuff. So really, it wasn't all that bad. It ended up okay for me. I didn't spend, over $50 on it. I just spent, actually I ended up spending nothing because he refunded me my money. But this is something for you all to think about, and for me to think about, of course, too, going into the future. There are so many counterfeit, bootleg Beatle items out there right now, and I see them all the time on these websites, including eBay. I see stuff that's obviously counterfeit. So just keep an eye out for things, and it's that saying that goes, if something's too good to be true, it probably is, because this was definitely the case for that. The fact that this was, 1/3 the price of what it was supposed to be, that was right away an indicator that this is probably not legitimate. Now, let me talk about, by the way, while I have them out, these Capital, these are official, by the way, these Capital box sets. Really, when it comes down to listening to the Beatles' Capital US albums on CD, I would definitely prefer going to these box sets as opposed to the US albums. Now, the US albums, while of course this is counterfeit, you can't really compare this with a legitimate release. I did have my friend's box set that I listened to and was able to like compare and contrast. So as far as the audio side of things, this is exactly what you would get with the regular box set. So I can compare that with these. And as far as the audio goes, they're identical. And I think though when it comes to, actually, I am totally wrong what I just said there. The audio is not identical is what I meant to say. The audio on the Capitol albums right here, these are taken from the actual US albums master tapes that Capitol had in the US. So that is a big plus compared to these, because these are totally digital. These are digital too, of course, but these are taken from a digital source. So these are from the 2009 stereo and mono remasters, and these are taken directly from the stereo and mono master tapes that Capitol had in the US. So that's a big difference. And as far as getting them to sound maybe a little bit warmer, although of course we are dealing with CDs here, so as far as warmth, that's kind of a hard thing to obtain, in my opinion. I do think that these two box sets are the way to go if you want to hear the Beatles US albums. The other thing I should mention, if you want to actually have the proper versions of the Beatles US albums, you have to own 2 boxes of Volume 2, as I have here. So this is the first set that came out, and it included an Air. I'm sure a lot of you know about this. So on Rubber Soul and Beatles 6, and by the way, I should talk about the format of these albums, is that they have the original mono or original stereo mix and then the original mono mix that you can listen to. And for Beatles 6 and Rubber Soul, instead of having the true mono mix, which was a dedicated mono mix, they ended up creating a fold-down mix of just the stereo mix. So what a fold-down mix, for those who don't know, is they just take the 2 stereo left and right channels and put them in the middle to make a mono mix. And it's not a real proper mono mix. So that's what they did, unfortunately by mistake, on these initial pressings of this. Then they fixed those and ended up with all the other pressings that they made of this, all the other runs. They fixed it and have the proper mono mixes for Beatles 6 and Rubber Soul on here. Now this is a box that I picked up. It's in very bad shape, but I didn't care because I just wanted the discs to sound good, to have those legitimate mono mixes of the US albums on here. So that's why this box is pretty messed up, and this one's pretty nice. So really you have to have 2 if you really want the proper, complete mixes there. Just a little bit of a side note. And I thought since we're talking about the US albums that I should mention that. So anyway, that's it for now. So keep an eye out for counterfeit items. Don't pick them up. Don't support people selling counterfeit items, because it just makes things worse, and they end up thinking they can keep selling these things online. So I think if the more of us are just know what to look for and what to avoid, then hopefully these people will stop trying to sell this stuff online and stop making it. But that's probably not going to happen, because ever since the beginning of time, people have been counterfeiting things and trying to pass things off as real that weren't real. That's just how it is. So just be smart, keep an eye out, and hopefully this video will help you to know about specifically the US albums, and you can avoid a counterfeit of your own. I would like to know in the comments below, though, for those of you that have the legitimate box set of this, do you like it, and do you listen to it often? And how does it compare to you with the Capitol albums Volume 1 and 2, these box sets? How do these two compare in your book? Which ones do you prefer? And let me know in the comments below. So that's it for now. Hope you're all doing well, and talk to you later.